all my Santa elves are on vacation or out, not available tonight, so I have to.
I can be one of those. It's no problem. I'm assistant coach.
Good evening, Mayor Birch, members of council, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is Kelly Morrison, and I'm the manager of the Downtown Woodstock BIA. But more importantly, I'm here as a member of the Woodstock Santa Claus Parade Committee. I'm very happy to be here tonight because I get to present the awards to the parade winners this year. Before I do that, please allow us a few minutes to thank the many people, companies, organizations that helped us out put on the wonderful parade this year. Big thanks go to all of you who came out to enjoy the parade, lined the streets, and supported us with cash donations as well as food and toys for the Salvation Army. We couldn't make it happen without the invaluable support of many people and companies that give us cash donations, equipment, and services. Thank you to all our hardworking volunteers and elves that did the setup, tear down, disband, and the many other tasks. Thanks also to our local media groups, Sentinel Review, Rogers, Heart FM, Country 104, and Sun Media. Huge thanks go to the City Works Department, the staff, the Woodstock Auxiliary Police, EMS, Woodstock Police, and Fire Departments. Thank you for the terrific job and keeping our parade safe. We want to especially recognize our amazing corporate sponsors. Our gold sponsors this year were Toyota Motor Manufacturing Canada, City of Woodstock Community Grants Committee, and the Downtown Woodstock BIA. Our silver sponsors are Toyota Bashuku, ViewTech Canada, Cisco, and North American Stamping Group. And our bronze sponsors were Timberland Equipment, Trigon, and Barney Printing. Without these sponsors, there would not be a parade, so thank you. We truly appreciate your sponsorship. Thank you to Bill and Margaret and their staff at Spicer's Towing for putting together the amazing wheels that get Santa down the street safely along the parade route. And thank you to all of those who entered afloat. We had many superbly decorated entries this year, and it was really hard, very hard to make a decision on the winners. So it appears that everybody takes this seriously, this competition very seriously. So it was a great parade, and Mother Nature wasn't necessarily on our side for it, but it was full of wonderful entries. So without further delay, the winners. So Mayor Birch is here ready to help me announce the winners, and we'll get the photographs with the plaques. So selecting the Spirit School Award was tough. We had 2 winners this year, so congratulations to both Great School Spirit Award winners. Accepting the award for Woodstock Collegiate Institute are students Juliette Lamoureux and Cassidy Scott. Accepting the award for École Notre Dame and École Saint-Marie Bourgeois are Shalane Hannah, Darren Hannah, and Rita Giroux Patience. Yay! We are wondering if there's any more room on the walls there at the school, Rita. This year we have a new category, the Best New Entry Award, and it goes to Craigavon Golf Club, Cardinal Golf Group, and accepting the award is Deb Masters and Shannon Enright. And next we have Best Float from a corporate sponsor, and this goes to Cisco. And wow, your team did an amazing job. So accepting this award is Kathy Crossman and Josh Giesel. In third place for Best Float is Great Northern Insulation, and accepting their award is Robert D. Medeiros and Kim Osmond. And second place for Best Float is the entry from ViewTech, and accepting their award is Marlene Patton and Ellen Hargreaves. And ViewTech has been supportive of the parade for many, many years with their silver sponsorship. So it's so great to have not only the support from our sponsors, but also when they actually put in a float. So.
Kelly, can we ask Marlene how many times she's accepted the award?
And finally, our first place float winner is Al's Tire Craft. My, what a great job. And accepting the award is Dean Townsend and Adam Barnum. So again, congratulations to all our winners, and we hope to see everyone out again for the 2018 Santa Claus Parade, which is on November the 17th this year. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for everyone who came out tonight to accept the awards, as well as all of those who participated that didn't receive awards, but you make special memories every year. And speaking of that, next we have the Woodstock Rockers. So this group of athletes from the Woodstock Special Olympics, I've had a good chance to get to know some of them over the years, and a couple Sundays ago at practice, got to see your stuff out there on the ice at the Woodstock Curling Center. And a little history before we do our presentation. In 2015, they won the Special Olympics provincial title at the Ontario Men's Tankard in Dorchester. 2018, competing in 2 qualifiers in Ingersoll and Woodstock, and defeated the teams of South, Saugeen, Orillia, and Brantford. And this has allowed them to qualify for this year's Ontario Tankard at the Canada Summit Centre in Huntsville. And that's taking place in just a couple of days, this Saturday, February the 3rd. And this is for a provincial title. The team started in B Division in 2015, and now for 2018, they are in A Division. And so this is a large testament to the coaches, Darlene Wood and Brian Ferris, the assistant coach, and also the elf tonight with the awards. Now, on a serious note, about a year and a half ago, the team lost a very valuable member and dear friend, Adam Alexander, who lost his battle with cancer. Adam's parents, Bob and Louise, they continue to support the team and still come out to practices and competitions. And tonight, all of council and myself are going to have the team come forward, and we're going to present a special hoodie that you can wear with pride. And I will point out to everyone that's here with us tonight and those that are watching at home, there is a special patch on the sleeve. We'll see if the camera gets in on that. And that patch is in commemoration of Adam. And quite a sight seeing that halo above the cross, brooms, and stone. So, with that, I will call the team up, and each counselor has a jersey to give to one of the team members, and I'm kind of like the coach here at council, so I have the coach and assistant coach to give out. So we'll call up Darlene Wood, Brian Ferris, Justin Bierma, Ryan Mates, Rob Farrington, Amanda Dean, and John Hendershot. Please come forward. Our next item on the agenda is delegations, and we have Jay Heeman, the Manager of Strategic Initiatives for the County of Oxford, speaking in regards to Infrastructure Canada's Smart Cities Challenge. Welcome, Jay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Thanks for having me tonight. We wanted to bring to your attention the Smart Cities Challenge, something that's been released from Infrastructure Canada. It's a challenge to all municipalities across the country. So a couple of things to request of council tonight. One is to support the single application. We're hoping to make a single application from Oxford County with all 8 municipalities as members of the application. And the second, we're hoping to have a member of council and senior like CAO, one of the senior member of staff, to join us on an ad hoc committee. So just a little bit of background. This is a last paragraph from Minister Sohi's challenge. They're really kind of raising the bar on challenges across the country. And he's basically asking municipalities to come up with the best plan, something that is thinking outside of the box, but is really addressing some of the most urgent needs of their respective municipalities. But it's to be based on the concept that our lives are changing, our society's more and more being based on technology, and it's asking for applications to consider data and connected technology as the premise. So on the left-hand side, you'll see it in the presentation as well. They talk about 4 main points. The plan has to be fairly grand in thinking, but it also has to be measurable. There has to be measurable outcomes. It has to really speak to innovation, which I think is something that all of our municipalities have really been focusing on. The idea of creating partnerships. And one of the most important aspects of this plan is that whatever we come up with has to be repeatable and scalable. So anything that we do here in Oxford County and all of the municipal partners, that it has to be repeatable. When we first caught wind of this back in the summer, our partners at Ryerson University sent this information to us, and it really looked like it was meant for our community. If you think back, we've been really preparing for something like this for 4 years. Together, we've put together a Future Oxford partnership. We've developed a sustainability plan that's really across all of our communities. And so really we felt that we are ready to implement, and that's one of the main aspects of the plan. This is just an example of how we believe there's some really good bridges between the framing of this challenge and what we've accomplished so far. If you look to on the right-hand side of the screen, you may recognize that infographic is the concentric circle that the sustainability plan is based on. And if there's any one takeaway from the plan, it's the idea that if we're serious about building a sustainable community and economy, we have to do so within the confines of a limited environment. And as obvious as that may seem, that's really not the way we operate in most of our societies right now. So it is a little bit of a novel idea. On the left-hand side are the 6 areas of focus that they talk about in the challenge itself. And so we just took these areas of focus and linked them back to the 3 pillars of our own sustainability plan, and you can quickly see just how well they map out. Just a little bit about the incentives. There are no dollars on the table for this. So this is a program that you really don't need to win a prize. You really don't need funding. The real value is just in participating. The idea that we take everything that we're putting together here as a community and taking that concept up on a federal stage. And then the idea there is that it's really a bit of a fun challenge. We can learn from others, and we expect that others are going to learn from some of the the accomplishments that we have in our own communities. However, there will be 20 finalists selected from across all of the applications, and each finalist will receive a $250,000 grant. That grant can be used over the next 6 or so months to help shape the application into something that will be built in some form. At the roughly this time next year, there'll be 4 prize winners selected, and so the prizes are substantial. The largest is $50 million, 2 $10 million prizes, and 1 $5 million. One thing that's interesting is that any size municipality can apply for the $50 million prize. And in fact, when I talked to the young lady that wrote a lot of the application process, they really encouraged our community, and I'm sure others, but our community, don't count yourself out of the big prize. So just a little bit of timeline. The launch was in November. They did have a little bit of a splash page back in the summer, just to kind of whet the appetite, but the formal launch was November. April 24th is our deadline to have our own application in. Finalists announcement in the summer, and then throughout the winter. Now this is a 5-year process, so anyone, the winners will be monitored and expected to report back in 5 years. But again, the one thing that I do want to repeat is becoming a finalist or a prize winner, sure, that would be nice, but the real value that we see in this is that it allows us all to pull together and kind of aggregate everything that we've done to date. Just quickly looking at our own submission, just thinking back to the partners, Oxford County, all 8 municipal partners have pulled together on the sustainability plan. We've all endorsed different things like zero waste and 100% renewable by 2050 goal. Recently, zero poverty, a lot of really aspirational goals. But we have been working actively on developing a good partner base as well. And so we have York University, their Sustainable Energy Initiative, and if you recall, we had the first International Renewable Energy Academy here in Oxford County last year. That was in cooperation with York University. There were 2 days of RET screen renewable energy modeling done on the university campus, and then we had about 50 students from 14 nations here in Oxford County. And they stayed in the downtown core, and most of the meetings actually at that point were in Woodstock. Western University is a fairly new partner, and we're working with them on 4 different buildings. Their research scientists are hoping to find buildings that are going to be high performers, and they want to install sensors in these buildings and then start mining that data and use artificial intelligence to develop outcomes for performance, how we can improve them, how are they performing based as compared to how they were modeled. And so that's an exciting process. Actually, 2 of the buildings that we're working on will be Blossom Park in Woodstock here, and also potentially 75 Graham Street. And then Ryerson University, you'll recall, we worked with them through Woodstock Hydro on the solar modeling tool, and we continue to work with Ryerson. They're actually, Dr. Sanyan Lee and 2 of his colleagues are working with Oxford County on the plan we put together, and also the City of Toronto. And they've also asked our communities to join in their new Future and Smart Cities program. So just in closing, just a bit of an overview of what we have been trying to put together to do the storytelling. In the summertime, we didn't know when that application process was going to take place. We thought it could be September, October. So we gathered a little bit of a team and put together 6 different stories and told them through the GIS story mapping process. So each story is 400 or 500 words. We did quite a bit of aerial and drone work and photography. And the idea was to tell the story of what we are accomplishing here together so far. So the first one is building transformation. Of course, everyone recognizes Graham Cubitt from Indwell. This is actually name slipped my mind. Harvey Woods Lofts. Thanks. Yeah. I need to put my glasses on. So that building, they have an incredible story. You know, we had Graham Cuban and his wife Emma speak at an event in Tillsonburg just about Passive House, but also a little bit of history on the evolution of their own building practices. And so we're just thrilled to have them as partners. This Harvey Woods Lofts, of course, is a real a groundbreaking, a really good energy performer. They plan to take it up quite a notch and build the next 34-unit Blossom Park building to Passive House standard, which will reduce the energy footprint by 80 to 90%. The sustainability cluster, and this includes another building as an example. The idea there was to look at a building that's existing, the former registry building sitting empty, 1950s vintage. We had the architects from CSV out of Ottawa who had completed the Passive House design for one of Canada's first multi-unit Passive House builds, the Cells Clementine in Ottawa. And they did an analysis on that building, and it's a good candidate for an retrofit, which, if you think back to Woodstock, the City of Woodstock Municipal Energy Plan, a big part of that municipal energy plan strategy is deep energy retrofit and improving the energy performance of all new builds. And so we think this is going to be a really good candidate to be a showcase of what you can do with an existing building to make it perform to a high level of energy standard. But also, and just as importantly, if we can pull together the idea of an incubator, living lab type of environment where we can pull different stakeholders into that same space and help new businesses get a foothold, and that's kind of the genesis there. Of course, 100% renewable by 2050 goal, and we continue to work through the partnerships on that program. You recall that we worked together in the latest MTO-EVCO electric vehicle charger program, and we had $350,000 grant, and of course we put 3 charge stations each in Ingersoll and Woodstock based on that. And incidentally, we did receive approval to take remaining funds from that $350,000 and invest in level 2 chargers in Tillsonburg and in Tempsford. Zero waste, we continue to do a lot of work on that and gain a lot of attention actually as well from the Ministry of Environment. And again, this is another example of an input into a smart city plan. And of course, the most recent zero poverty, it's interesting, this zero poverty program, you know, over the time, the last couple of years, we've had a couple of people challenge us about the extremes of 100% renewable energy. Why are you going this, why are you this aggressive? Is zero waste really achievable? Zero poverty. And, you know, we think back to in the electric utility industry, they started a Zero Quest program with the premise that the goal is zero injuries. And there were challenges on that as well. And the response is that how many injuries are acceptable? And the answer is obviously 0, and that becomes the goal. And I think probably the idea of zero poverty is equally comparable. And just to wrap that concept up, if you think about the building at Blossom Park, one of the biggest expenses for people, the cost of living, is utilities. And if we can build that building to be among the most energy efficient, where they have virtually 0 energy bills or very low, among the highest air quality standard of any building, it's just another step toward a reduction of poverty, enhancing people's lives. Regional transportation, and just finally coming back full circle, we believe we have a great place to start. This hasn't been easy. This has been a lot of public outreach, a lot of collaboration between all 8 municipalities that form Oxford County, and we think that together we can really form a fantastic application. And so with that, just to repeat, our request is that City of Woodstock join in with all 8 municipalities, and that we can create a small committee to put our final plan together.
Thank you. Questions of council? Councillor Shapton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through to Jay. I thought your presentation was fantastic, but you managed to clear the room here, Jay. We went from a full house to one person back here, so I thought it was great, though, trust me. I do have one question, and I can certainly appreciate all of that, but at the beginning of your presentation, it showed, I believe, a $65 million purse to combine to win for the prizes. Is that correct?
It's $50 million is the top prize, and then there's two $10 million prizes and one $5 million.
Okay.
And it is a threshold, so yeah.
So just to be clear, where does the $75 million come from? Who sponsors those funds?
Yeah, this is part of a $300 million fund, and it's being supported through the cap and trade program, is what I understand.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further questions of council? Councillor Accioni.
Through your worship, to Jay, just want to really say thank you for the presentation. I think we all look forward to participating and really seeing where this goes.
Yeah.
So well done. Yeah, quite excited.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Talbot.
Thank you, Worship. I was just going to say it's still interesting the second time around. We heard it already at County Council, but it's still always interesting.
Well, my apologies to John. He said, not you again, when I walked in. So.
Thank you very much. And tonight we have no planning report. So next on the agenda is consideration of correspondence from the County of Oxford regarding the Infrastructure Canada Smart Cities Challenge. Councillor Tate.
I'll make a motion that Woodstock City Council supports an Oxford Municipal Partner submission to the Smart Cities Challenge, and further that City Council appoints Councillor Accioni to the Smart Cities Challenge Ad Hoc Committee.
And seconded by Councillor Shapton. Discussion? Seeing none, and you'll allow your name to stand, Councillor Accioni. All those in favor? Carries unanimous. Next item on the agenda is correspondence from Ontario Good Roads. Do we want the short version or the long version? Councillor Talbot.
Thank you, Your Worship. Whereas a coalition of the Municipal Engineers Association, MEA, and the Residential and Civil Construction Alliance of Ontario have successfully applied to have a review of the municipal class environmental assessment process conducted under Part 4, Section 61 of the Environmental Bill of Rights Act 1993 EBR Act, and whereas impact studies and public meetings required by the MCEA process often take 2 years or more to complete before construction can commence, and whereas the MCEA requirements to evaluate alternatives are often not well aligned with prior or municipal land use planning decisions, and whereas analysis of the Residential and Civil Construction Alliance of Ontario, RCCAO, has demonstrated that the time to complete an EA rose from 19 months to 26.7 months, and costs went from an average of $113,300 to $386,500. And whereas the Auditor General of Ontario has tabled recommendations for the modernizing the MCEA process, and whereas in spite of written commitments made by the Ministry of Environment between 2013 to 2015, no action has been taken. And whereas local projects that do not have the necessary approvals could lose out on the next intake of Build Canada funding, therefore, be it resolved, the City of Woodstock requests the Minister of the Environment and Climate Change take immediate steps to expedite the response process for Part 2 orders or bump-up requests as part of the S61 review to improve MCEA process times and reduce study costs, and further that the Minister of Environment and Climate Change support changes to better integrate and harmonize the MCEA process with processes defining under the Planning Act. And further, that the Minister of the Environment and Climate Change amend the scope of MCEA reports and studies to reduce duplication with existing public processes and decisions made under municipal official plans and provincial legislation.
Great job. And a seconder, Councillor Petter. Discussion. Seeing count.
I don't know who I want to ask this through, but would this be something similar as to the property on Dundas Street that's been held up by EA process for before they can go ahead? Like, would this be the same type of one?
Your Worship, through to Councillor Talbot, not exactly. That's a record of site condition process that's required. This is the municipal Class EA process that we are required to do for many of our major civil infrastructure type projects.
Thank you. Further discussion? You've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the correspondence from Hydro One regarding the rate change for north of the Thames River. Councillor Shapton.
Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council receive the correspondence from Daniel Levitan, Director, Government Relations and Public Affairs, Hydro One, as information.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Accioni. Discussion? Councillor Petter.
Through the mayor, I'm not sure who to ask, but I'd like to have somebody explain this so that we understand what the city's role was in this and what actually transpired.
I guess it's me. So we had, of course, spoke about this at council last year in the spring. Albert Hargraves had corresponded with Hydro One as well as Woodstock City Council regarding the different distribution classifications. So the area north of the Thames River, north of Piddock, that new development area, was not part of the former Woodstock Public Utility. So it came in under a rural designation for the distribution costs. Now, of course, council might recall that our first response back from Hydro One to the correspondence from Albert Hargraves and ourselves was not too favorable, and we continued in the process. And now, unfortunately, Mr. Hargraves is no longer with us, but I know that he's got a big smile on his face watching down, seeing that the results have happened. And for the viewers at home, many of them will remember Mr. Hargraves' involvement. He was an alderman with Woodstock City Council. He was involved with the real estate board, president of the real estate board for a number of years, very active in many different organizations in the city, active in real estate, active in development, and did not like the fact that one neighbor was paying a higher electricity distribution rate from another neighbor. And now that we are all underneath Hydro One, this makes great sense. Now it's seamless on the distribution side. There still is some differentiation on the other rates because there was a special rate rider for the former utility customers. But the homeowners, right now I believe the count's about 820, will on average save about $6 a month, and there's about 19 businesses that'll also be seeing savings as well. So hopefully that's a good recap for the viewers at home. Good news story. So you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Now we have administrative services, and the first item is the approval of the bylaw for the 2018 capital budget. Councillor Accioni.
Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council refer the report regarding the 2018 capital budget approval to the bylaw section of the agenda.
You and a seconder, Councillor Petter. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Next item is the 2017 annual building report. Councillor Shapton.
Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council receive the 2017 annual building report as information.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Petter. Discussion? Councillor Talbot.
Thank you, Worship. I just wanted to comment. It was very interesting to see how some of the names reappeared and reappeared and reappeared. So we have a lot of expansion going on in the community, and a lot of the public probably wouldn't know or see what's always going on. But after reading the report, it was very surprising, and because to see how the same name kept popping up, or there'd be a couple of names that kept popping up. So we're very fortunate to have these companies in our community that are investing so heavily.
Further discussion? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the request to repeal bylaws. Councillor Petter.
I move that Woodstock City Council refer the report to repeal bylaws 9035-16 and 9069-16 to the bylaws section of the agenda.
Seconded by Councillor Accioni. Discussion. Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the proposed sale of land. Councillor Tate.
That Woodstock City Council authorize the mayor and clerk to sign the agreement of purchase and sale, and that the necessary bylaw be read.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Shapton. Discussion. Councillor Shapton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just wondering if Mr. Magyar could give us some information and background on this piece of property.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through to Councillor Shapton. This property, most people will know it as a property at Main and Wellington Street, which has been owned by the municipality for a number of years. And a couple of years ago, we started the process in terms of trying to see if we could sell the property, see if we could spur some development. We established a price at that time of $164,000 on the property, and we actually had a property also on Reeve Street that was for sale, and we had somebody who had approached us who was interested in cobbling both parcels together as opposed to doing one versus the other. And in the process of doing all that work, we also had to do a phase 2 environmental audit of the property, and with that we discovered there were a number of environmental issues associated with the property. It certainly was not as bad as I think we as staff had thought, and so the property was advertised for sale. We've had a couple of people look at it, and long story short, this is the best offer we've received to date. The price is below our $164,000 asking price, but we were somewhat negotiable in terms of what we were looking for the property, and I think the price that's presented will give us development on the site over the medium term. But what it really does is it leaves the municipality of dealing with environmental issues. So this purchaser has taken on all the environmental aspects of cleaning up this property. So it gets it off our plate and puts it on there. So that's reflective of the price that we've brought forward to council.
Thank you. Further questions of council? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the multi-year municipal accessibility plan. Councillor Accioni.
Moved by myself, the Woodstock City Council approve the 2018 to 2022 multi-year municipal accessibility plan.
Councillor Shapton. Discussion. Councillor Talbot.
I just wanted to say or commend the Accessibility Committee, the staff, and the councillors who sit on this. And if you look through the success from 2013 on, what has been accomplished as far as accessibility, and looking at their multi-year action plan, like it's a lot of thought, a lot of energy has gone into this, and I think we should be very proud of ourselves at how we are addressing it and keeping up with it.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the Compliance and Audit Committee. Councillor Shapton.
Moved by myself that Woodstock City Council refer the report regarding Municipal Code Chapter 45, Compliance Audit Committee, to the bylaw section of the agenda.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Petter. Discussion. Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries. Unanimous. And next up is bylaws. Councillor Petter.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Shapton that the following bylaws be given first and second reading. 9185-18, a bylaw to amend City of Woodstock Municipal Code Chapter 45, Compliance Audit Committee. 9186-18, a bylaw to repeal City of Woodstock bylaw number 9035-16 and 9069-16. 9187-18, 2018 capital budget bylaw. 9188-18, land sale to D&G Developers Incorporated. that the following, I move and seconded by Councillor Shapton that the following bylaws be given third and final reading. 9185-18, 9186-18, 9187-18, and 9188-18.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. All those in favor? Carries unanimous. And tonight we will start with Councillor Talbot.
Thank you, Your Worship. This next week is really, really busy, and I hope that we're live tonight so that if people haven't made a decision for breakfast tomorrow morning, they can get up and go down for Southgate's Chili. Charlie's prognostication for whether spring is going to come early or late, but a great breakfast for $3, and it starts at 7:30 and goes till 9. And I think the he's going to Chili Charlie's coming out at 8:20 to see a shot. 8:10? Oh, I won't be done breakfast by then. Oh, well. Southgate Centre is busy again on February the 6th, which is the Tuesday for the chili contest. I don't know if our chili guys here, second place chili guys here, are entering their chili in this particular contest, but it's always a good one as well. And you can go down between 11:30 and 1, and I think for a small fee you can taste a different chili. And that's also the same night as Forks and Corks put on by the Chamber of Commerce. Always an excellent night. It's just a good night to go out and see a lot of people, have some good conversations. And something I'm participating in on the next night, the 7th, is Rock and Bowl for kids' sake. And I want to thank fellow councillors and the people that have sponsored me for this event. It's for the kids, big brothers, big sisters. So it's running the 7th, 9th, and 10th. So a good thing to support. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Shapton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple of quick points. Family Day is quickly approaching, and just so if anyone's trying to make some plans, the Art Gallery has an incredible Family Day group of activities, starting off with a movie, which is always incredible and very affordable too. So it's if you're looking for something to do, I strongly encourage you to take a look and see all the events. And if you can't make it for the movie, there's lots of other ones that'll fill in the day. I also wanted to mention that locally around our city, we've had several, for any of those that follow minor hockey, several silver stick winners, which growing up for myself, we got to the tournament and that was about it. So to hear that we're actually winning some is pretty spectacular, and I congratulate not only the players, but the parents and the coaches for getting these kids there and for doing a great job. The last piece, which sadly has been in the news significantly, I believe it was yesterday morning in Norfolk, there was an article written about fair play and the way that referees specifically are being treated at the rink, and how police are constantly being called. I attend a fair amount of games that are at the community complex and at the Civic Center, and although generally the games that I go to, there's lots of great support for the players, young and old, but there has been the odd time where, as parents, I think we're getting a little carried away with wishing the next Wayne Gretzky the best and perhaps chasing down the referees that officiate the games. So I just want to remind people, back earlier in the term, this council supported some new signage going up at our local arenas. Take a breath, relax, enjoy the fact that your child, your son or daughter, is out there playing a game that they love and that they probably do not share your passion for how you're acting. So keep yourself in check. Enjoy a pop. If you need to take a break, I know at the complex they have some great French fries, so maybe go get some fries and take a step outside, because I think it's completely unnecessary. So again, thanks to all the parents and the referees and the volunteers that make these events happen, and congratulations to all that have had some success.
Thank you. Councillor Petter.
Just two quick things. First one, our Woodstock Navy vets finished third in the regular season and are now starting playoffs tomorrow night against Norwich. I believe it's a 5-game series, and they play here tomorrow night, in Norwich on Saturday, and I think back here again on Tuesday. This rivalry goes back, way back when I was young, and so that's going to be some good hockey, and I hope everybody gets out to see it. Yeah, 40. And one of our local craft brewery, Upper Thames, will be providing the beer, so you can't lose. I got hockey and beer. Second item, I want to wish my wife a happy anniversary. Today's our anniversary of 44 years. I'm sure because I had duties tonight, I couldn't take her out, but I'm sure I'll take her to McDonald's tomorrow or Saturday. So happy birthday, Rosalind. Thanks. Not birthday, anniversary. Her birthday's coming up, though.
Councillor Accioni.
Thank you, Your Worship. A lot has been mentioned already. I did have the pleasure to attend the small business support showcase earlier this afternoon, and just really want to encourage everyone that does have a small business. There's a lot of different resources to take advantage of, and that was really shown this afternoon that you know, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to have success. So reach out. Right downtown here, of course, we have the Woodstock Small Business Center. Go see Rhonda and Christine and Tim, and other resources all throughout Oxford County. There is a blood donor clinic tonight. Unfortunately, I'm missing. My wife has already sent me a message. She's there now. She's giving blood. Just want to remind, it's in you to give. Get there as soon, as often as you can, please. Bowl for Kids' Sake was already mentioned. Just be generous if you're not playing. Please be generous. And Family Day, of course, was mentioned. I was going to mention the art gallery. For more information on that is woodstockartgallery.ca. Have a happy Family Day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tate.
I'm just going to mention again, because we're supposed to be getting a lot of snow, please help your neighbors out with the shoveling, their driveways, the sidewalks. The next couple of weeks is going to be very cold and lots of snow. Thanks.
Thank you. I would start by saying we've lost a long-term member in our community, someone who resurrected the football team at WCI many years ago as a teacher, then moved on to Huron Park and started a football team there as well. Author of over 8 books of poetry, and there's a few more that are coming out very soon. Barry Butson, what a very influential individual behind the scenes. He ran his own printing press right here in the city of Woodstock, Altador Press, published in over 200 magazines around the world, extensively interviewed on BBC radio and on CBC radio. I had the privilege of attending at Christmas with all of his family there to share in a celebration of life with him, a true Renaissance man. We've actually been working on the process of what a poet laureate could look like here in Woodstock. And in fact, the day that we had a meeting with the CEO of the library, as well as one of the influential poet people in our community regarding a potential nomination for Barry, he had just passed away. Now, I remember him also as an English teacher in high school. And to this day, my grasp of the English language is forever altered. I also sat in his homeroom. Now, we've had a very busy month in January. I was able to attend the Auto Mayors meeting in Oakville, and there's still a lot of positive discussions going on around the NAFTA agreement, etc. We have also held the Breakfast with the Chamber last week on Friday, and that was very well attended. On the Saturday, I was able in the morning to participate in Literacy Day at the Woodstock Library, and I brought in one of my children's favorite books, Something from Nothing, and the children there just loved that story. Now, that same day, it was so nice to be able to attend at the Walk for Alzheimer's and to see the generations that were there, to see young children that are now being recognized on the Hall of Fame, the 600 Club, that are walking in memory for their grandpa or their grandma or their aunt or their uncle. And again, an amazing turnout from the community, all of those who pledged those walkers. We've already heard about tomorrow and the Groundhog Day official activities that'll be happening with Chili Charlie. I will be there to read a proclamation again this year. I've been interviewed twice today by 2 different radio stations asking if I have my own prediction. And even though I've only been in this role for 3 years, it's long enough to know that I will not make a prediction. We'll leave that up to Chili Charlie. There will be another breakfast coming up on February 16th. The Christians of Woodstock will be holding their annual Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. And followed up the next day on Saturday is the winter exhibit at the art gallery. So that unveiling is going to have some wonderful pieces. So make sure you make it out to the art gallery as well. And with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Shapton, seconded by Councillor Petter. All those in favor? We are adjourned.